Welcome to Oil and Whiskey, an Ironclad original. I am Josh Henning.
I'm Phil Gerber.
I'm Jeremy Gerber.
Welcome everybody back to Oil and Whiskey, an Ironclad original, presented by Blade HQ. Whether you're into cars, motorcycles, hunting, fishing, grilling, or any number of things, you've got the tools that you swear by. Have you ever noticed that the tool that finds its way into every job is a knife? Do you have the knife that you swear by? If not, it's time you got yourself one, and Blade HQ is the place to get it. They've got knives to fit any hand, any belt, any job, and any budget. Just go to bladehq.com/oil and whiskey to shop their selection of knives. Today's guest is TV host and producer and author Courtney Hansen. This week we're mixing it up a little bit different, changing things up. We're going to be releasing part one of this episode featuring our interview with Courtney today, and then releasing the rest of the episode featuring the Glove Box Whiskey Throttle and more on Thursday. One episode.
2 parts.
2 parts, 2 days. Yep.
Wow.
I thought you were going a little further with that.
That was it. No, that's it. Courtney Hansen is a TV personality and car enthusiast who has hosted and co-hosted shows including Overhaulin, Rides, Biggest Spenders, $1 Million Motors on TLC, Spike TV's Powerblock/PowerNation, Velocity Channel's Vinsetta Garage, The Ride That Got Away, and many others. She's also regularly interviews top drivers for NASCAR and hosts Barrett-Jackson Auction's pre- and post-auction shows. She's also the author of the automotive how-to book, Garage Girl's Guide to Everything You Need to Know About Your Car, as well as writing on cars for Celebrity Car Magazine and FHM Magazine. You can find more about her by visiting her website, CourtneyHansen.com, or following her on Instagram at Courtney_Hansen. She's also going to be dropping some very big, exciting news that you will only hear here on Oil and Whiskey. First,
A little insider info, huh?
we're going to do a little breaking news, little scroller on the bottom. Courtney Hansen, welcome to Oil and Whiskey. Well, thank you very much for coming on. We've been looking forward to this one. You've been a mainstay. We're obviously not friends. We don't know each other personally, but you've been a mainstay in all of our lives. You know, growing up, watching all the car shows, you've been on just about every single one of them. So this is an honor.
Yeah, we not long ago met and chatted with your buddy Chris Jacobs. So we're usually, I've seen you guys together in the past on these car shows, and it was cool chatting with him, and we're looking forward to chatting with you.
Thank you. It's an honor to be on, and I watched Chris's episode, so he was great talking about long lost family, and he's such a pro, such a good dude.
He's a sweetheart, man. I enjoyed talking to him.
Made me feel even worse about myself. I mean,
yeah,
he's such a good dude.
Just a genuinely nice guy. Yeah.
He's the best guy ever, and now he's a father, and it makes him even that much sweeter. Awesome. I love Chris.
So like we do with pretty much every guest, we kind of try to start from the beginning. So tell us a little bit how you kind of got your start. I know your family owned a racetrack. You've been kind of around this your whole life. So tell us a little bit about that.
I grew up a pit kid. My family owned Brainerd International Raceway in Minnesota, and I grew up at the racetracks. I was always hanging at our track and all the tracks throughout the Midwest, and in the garages with my dad and the mechanics and builders, and that was my life. That's all I knew was the racetrack life and the motorhome life, going from track to track. And my dad raced SCCA, Sports Car Club of America, won 27 national championships in SCCA. I don't think anybody touches that record. And he taught Paul Newman
in SCCA history.
Yeah, he definitely is, and he holds some cool track records. And so I grew up watching my dad race and hanging at the tracks. And kind of a cool story. My dad brought the late Paul Newman to our racetrack. He raced the Trans Am series with my dad, and it's because my dad kind of helped him become a better driver. And he was like, how can I repay you? Can I take your family to dinner in Atlanta? Can we do something like fun with our families? And my dad's like, I'll tell you what you can do. You can come to Minnesota and come to Brainerd and race the Trans Am series there and bring attention to our racetrack. So Paul Newman came, and he loved it, and he came for 20 years. Wow. And he stayed at our cabin with his family and his whole crew. They stayed at our cabin. And so that was my life, and that was my intro since day one into the automotive world.
So did you know at that young age that, I mean, obviously that you knew that was your world. Did you know that like you're just gonna be in this world, or was it like, yeah, I've got to get out of this and like find something else, and you gravitated back towards it, or what?
It's like
How
the
did,
like the kid who grew up with the dad on a construction site. It's
Yeah.
like I gotta get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I gotta
man.
do
This is
something different.
this is not what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life.
right?
It was more like that, like the second one. I didn't really think about it. I always knew that I liked cars. I liked, driving around with my dad. I like driving them myself. Obviously I like the way they sound and look and all of that. And so it's like a part of me. But I never thought that I would have a career in automotive. And I'm also like, it's this dichotomy because I'm also feminine and girly, and I'm not just a tomboy. And so I was really into fashion, and I did stuff with TV my whole life. And so no, I didn't really think that I was going to, have a career in automotive. And my parents were like, we support anything you do, but we really don't want you guys to be race car drivers. And my sister is a badass. If she would have raced NASCAR or NHRA, she would be killing it. And she regrets that she didn't. But I didn't have that like in my blood either, that part of it. So it was just really interesting when I was working on a TV hosting career in LA, and my agent called and said, what do you know about cars? And I was like, well, I know a good bit. I grew up, with father who raced, and we had a racetrack, and I know my way around an engine in a car. And he's like, well, they don't even want to see you for this audition unless you know everything there is to know about cars and about chip foos. And I was just learning about foos. So I literally pulled like 48 hours straight, just up reading everything that I could read and everything that I could absorb about, engine mechanics and car fabrication and chip foos and all of it. And went in for that audition, and apparently they were impressed. I got the job, and it changed my life. Thank you, Bud Bretzman and that crew. And
we heard a really
AJ
we heard a really similar story from Chris Jacobs, but I think they went after him just for his looks alone because he didn't have to do all the in-depth car interview.
No, I have a better. Okay, so no, I have to take Chris to the next level. So they had chosen this guy, and I'm so glad they didn't go this direction. I'll stop there. But anyway, they had chosen a guy who ended up to have, I guess he was a friend of Bud's, and then there was something going on in his life where he couldn't do the show.
It was
And
a friend
so-
of Bud's. That's the
Yeah. That explains it, right?
Yep.
And so they were like, Courtney, do you want to be part of the audition process where we figure out who's going to be the co-host? Because they wanted us to have chemistry, and they just, I guess, wanted my input. So Adrian was there. It was just her birthday, and I just posted a bunch of pictures last night. I'm super grateful to her too, because she was a part of the whole thing. But so I sat in for the interview process where they talked to like, I don't know, like 40 or 50 different potential hosts. And we all were like, bam, Chris. And then we had chemistry where this, the height thing worked. He's tall, I'm tall. So it was a perfect fit. But I got to see him audition, and he was amazing. Of course, it was like a no-brainer.
And I'd love to have sat there to see the not amazing ones. That's got to be an interesting line of work to see what kind of shit rolls in for.
Yeah, I like your choice of words.
Well,
not
I'm sure
amazing.
there's a lot of confidence, like self-confidence that maybe they shouldn't be. I'm guessing. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not a TV guy, but
Interesting. You said that about the height thing. I never would have thought about that. Like you said, you got to have the chemistry, and then you got to kind of look good on camera, but you've got to have I mean, Danny DeVito couldn't come in there and, kill it on everything. And then, it would
did like Schwarzenegger.
I wonder if that's why Bud never called me for that job. But the 5.5 thing might have been, that could have been the breaking point on it.
Probably
I know a
would.
shitload about cars, but man, damn, I guess
A
no
lot of
future
them
in
were not
TV
so
for me.
good. There were a lot that were not good, and there were many people who just the height thing didn't work out. But Chris was perfect, and then I mean, look at his career and how amazing he is, and all the shows he's done, and he's the best host out there. He's incredible. So happy for him.
You did an awesome job as well. I mean, it was I know for us, I mean, there was nothing else out there like it, and it was family TV. I mean, it was feel good. There was stuff that was for a car TV show. It was legitimate
the best.
enough about, cars and stuff. And there was no, you could tell like deadlines were real. You're like, they can't fake that shit,
Yeah. It's a good combination. I mean, you've got great hosts, and then you've got Chip, great talent. It's not like watching bad Chad or whatever that is. Where
That's two references in this podcast.
I'm just dropping heaters. But you get a lot of talent on that show. It's cool to watch.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you don't get better than Foose, right? The legend. And I'm sure you heard from Chris and Chip about our deadlines. They were real. It was 7-day builds, reveal the car on the 8th day, and it was always that last minute scramble. And the cars had to drive, and so that was those deadlines were legit, and we really did it in that amount of time. So I can attest to it.
So being around cars that early, you had to start driving pretty early. There's got to be some stories about that. Would you start driving first, and what age were you?
Everything with an engine, since I literally could touch the gas pedal, and even when I couldn't, I was sitting on my dad's lap driving our family motorhome at age 2, like steering the motorhome. And my dad, I love both my parents. I always give my dad all this credit, but my mom's a car girl too, and she's really cool. And so my parents were very much like, let's instill confidence in our kids to drive everything with an engine. And so everything, go-karts and 3-wheelers and 4-wheelers and motorcycles and boats and wave runners and jet skis and everything. So pretty cool. We had a cabin in northern Minnesota, the one that Paul Newman came to, that was just about 30 minutes away from the racetrack. So it was north of Brainerd, on the Whitefish chain, so gorgeous. And we would spend a day at the racetrack, and then pretty much every day during the summers. And then we would go to our cabin, and it was on a gorgeous lake, and we had a garage full of vehicles, and in that garage was everything you can imagine. Multiple motorcycles, all different sizes, like some for the littler, us kids, and then for the adults, 3-wheelers, 4-wheelers, again, everything that you can imagine. And there was golf carts in there too. And we would just decide, like, okay, what do we want to drive today? What do we want to ride today? And we would do these family trail rides, and everybody, all of our friends and family, and Paul Newman's crew, everybody would just get on something, and we would drive through the woods, and we would make these, figure 8 tracks on the beach. And then after like many hours of that, we would all like jump in the water, and then it was jet skis and wave runners and boats and speedboats. And
that's heaven right there. You are literally describing heaven.
Whoever drew the short straw got the 3-wheeler. That's for sure.
They're not with us anymore.
It was heaven. Whenever my sister will bitch about certain, I'm like, Jordan, we had the ultimate life growing up. I mean, you can't beat that life.
That is so cool. Having a racetrack, your very own racetrack at your disposal. Like, I know, just thinking, the thoughts are going through my mind, especially with us being 14, 15, 16. I know the best thing to drive on a racetrack when you can are not the race cars.
Right.
So it's the stuff that doesn't go on the racetrack. I mean, did any of that go on? You said golf carts, you said 3-wheelers. I kind of got it all figured out in my head what I'd be doing, but no wild stories tearing up the racetrack? Or
so many accidents, by the way, like where people didn't know how to drive something, because like we would just trust our friends to just get on this run. And so, I mean, people took golf carts into trees and flipped motorcycles and nearly died. Like, we had crazy stories, but I was actually riding passenger on a motorcycle, and the embankments are really steep at BIR and Brainerd Raceway. And my dad had said to me, listen, you can ride anything that you want, drive anything you want anytime, but do not ever get on the back of a motorcycle with anybody ever. Like, over my dead body will you ever do that, right? So this one day, I was forgetting those words, and I got on the back of a motorcycle with a girl who was like 15. I was 12, and she went the wrong way around the racetrack, and so she got caught in one of the steep embankments in the gravel. And I watched it happening. Like, I remember it in slow motion. She hit the gravel going way too fast, and I flew off. I'm told, like 30 feet in the air, landed on my back. I could have died. And they were all the floor. There was 2 doctors playing Frisbee, like not far from us on the infield. And they were like, don't touch her, don't move her. They thought I died or I'd broken my neck or back. And it turned out all I did was break my left arm in 6 places. But my dad was like standing over me, and I'm like, oh my God, the one time that I went against his word. Yes. So there's an example.
I'm not mad, I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, where'd you guys go? Oh no, wait, there you go. No, I'm here.
See you.
Sorry. Okay. So yeah, that's a story, and it kind of put a little fear of motorcycles in me that I've tried to over the years get over, but I still ride them.
So
Yeah, letting somebody else ride is always, who's not into it. The amount of stories we had growing up,
Yeah.
and we've got a whole episode of the show dedicated to mostly people jumping on a dirt bike, not knowing what they're doing, called Whiskey Throttle, grabbing a handful of throttle and just into a fence, into a house.
you ever think back about all the nice things that you had until you let that friend or that neighbor
yeah.
kid that came over? Go-karts usually. It was always like
Oh.
front suspension ripped off of go-karts.
I feel like you're in my head right now because I've got to share the story with you
Go
because
ahead.
you're gonna love this.
It's Krasny.
Yeah, probably
Oh.
1989, 1991, somewhere in that window. Keith Krasny in the backyard
I
on,
love it. I love a
on
good
Phil's,
Krasny story.
Phil's little fucking go-kart, and I'm like throwing these. We made this track. He's ripping around. I throw something at him, like a stick or something, and he dodges it. And he's full speed. I mean, we had the governor off this thing, 5-horse Briggs. It's hauling ass.
tuned up.
Yeah.
Right.
Swerves off the track, just catches like a 400-year-old oak tree dead in the middle of the thing. And it took the frame and rolled the whole thing up, buckled it in the middle. It was pretty cool. But that was
never drove that.
that was one of the
Yeah, I
first.
didn't have a go-kart anymore.
No, it was one of the first times that I ever welded anything because my dad made us cut the front of it off and fix it and weld it back on. It was a mess, but not something I'm proud of. But yeah, go-karts, man. Good times. Keith Krasny.
All those friends always, like you said, you just trusted
Yep.
that they knew how to do it. I mean, you knew how to do it, so you just trusted, hop in, go ahead. And then it usually ended in disaster.
Yeah. It is phenomenal
Totally.
advice, though. Never get on the back of a motorcycle with somebody else.
And so now I tell my daughter that too, and we teach her to drive. Like I'm taking my dad's lead, and my daughter's 8. She's more of a car enthusiast than I am. Before she said mom, she said car. I swear, it's like in her blood. And so she drives. She's always on our lap. She's like, let me drive this, let me drive that, and she's driving we have a Moke, which is like a golf cart in Florida, and she drives that. But I'm saying the same thing to her. Do not ever get on the back of anything, and even cars. Like I don't want her just getting in a car with someone who doesn't really know how to drive, because most people don't.
Yep.
So
Like every Uber driver out there.
You drive for a living, and you're the worst at it.
I can't even handle it. I can't handle it because I'm the worst backseat driver, and then I get a bad rating because I'm backseat driving.
The passengers get ratings, huh?
Yeah.
Damn.
You also
Yeah.
get charged for a
Hey,
cleanup fee.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, you do. Don't you?
What are you doing in there that needs a cleanup fee?
Yeah, that's yeah.
He's having like a few too many of these guys here one night.
Yeah.
My birthday party, and
We were down. It's a short story. We were down in the city celebrating Jeremy's birthday. We were all down there with our wives. We went to a couple different bars, had great dinner, and we're drinking way too much. And so like smart, we Ubered back. It's about 45 to 50 minutes from the city on an Uber ride. This was at the height of COVID, so it was like you couldn't even like get on your app to get an Uber without having a mask on. So it was everybody's masked up. So climbed off into this Uber in the back seat and masked up. And I mean, we weren't even on the interstate yet, and I knew that it was gonna be a bad ride. I mean, I was a little over the top. Plus, this guy was the worst fucking driver ever. And then you're in the
Ugh.
back seat, and it's
So
sway
bad. Oh,
back and forth. And so
drunk.
yeah, and I was drunk, and I had a mask on. Let's not forget the part that I had the mask on.
and you forgot.
Well,
You did
yeah,
forget.
I said let's not forget, because I did forget at that point that I had a mask on. So it was
Kind of like putting a jet ski in neutral, isn't it?
I did the little slide the window out, and head out the window, and I thought everything was good. And we got home, and we got out. My wife's like, "Oh my God, look at the side of his car," and I mean, it was done up.
Oh, no.
I'd done a job on it, and so that's funny
Dude.
enough, right? And then I get in and realize that most of that was still in my mask too. So
Oh, my God.
I'll tell you what. I
Yeah,
not
always
to
mask
gross you
on.
out, but
I always dreamed.
Josh knows how to impress the ladies.
I always dreamed of the first time we met Courtney Hansen that we'd tell her stories about
vomit.
vomiting all over ourselves. That's good.
Wait,
Courtney's
two
been
questions,
around
two
guys
questions.
her whole life. I guarantee you she's seen some drunk car guys.
Definitely, without a doubt. That's pretty much all I'm surrounded by. Why did you not pull down the mask to?
Well, that's a great question, Courtney.
Had you been there to ask that at the time,
Yeah.
And What was the cleanup fee?
I think it was 250.
Huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's about
That's not
right.
bad.
And they just ring your account on that?
Oh yeah, there's no getting away from it.
No, it's just,
Yeah, I tried. There's no getting away. You're paying that account if you ever want to ride an Uber, ever. So
And you got like 0 stars.
yeah, he was not happy. Sorry to derail that a little bit. Now transitioning into you being an author, tell us about your book.
Great segue.
perfect transition.
So, in 2005, I published a book. I mean, this is like a ways back now, but it was a book for women, really, and first time, like people who are becoming car enthusiasts, and called The Garage Girl's Guide to Everything You Need to Know About Your Car. So it was just a fun project, and I actually have ideas for a second book, but right now I have to get this TV project off the ground, which is coming next month.
Are you
And,
ready to
yeah.
drop that here? No one else knows about this at all. If this has not gone live.
Like I don't even know where to begin. It just like to sum it up, this has been the absolute grind of my life, and it's a testament to the fact that you really can do absolutely anything if you put your mind to it. And I've told my daughter over and over and over, and she's seen it, that you have to persevere and never give up. And if you just keep going and don't let anything slow you down, and don't take no for an answer, and find a way, get creative when you're faced with unimaginable challenges. It's a miracle of God that after 2 years and a global pandemic, this show is about to air on Motor Trend in prime time on Wednesday nights and on their app. It's called Ride of Your Life with Courtney Hansen, and the network added the Courtney Hansen part, and I couldn't be more excited. So here's what we do. It's a reality show. It's a reality docu-series, and we have world-renowned car designer Will Posey of Big Oak Garage, and an incredible team of super talented guys. And we have a female interior specialist, Chelsea, who is a badass, and she's gorgeous, and she and I have become the best of friends. We have this team of young guys in their 20s and 30s who've been building cars since they were 4 years old, and Will designs these vehicles, and our kick-ass team builds them, and I join the mix. And we give the cars to deserving people who had to say goodbye to their classic car or truck at one point in life, and they've longed to get that car back all these years. We make it into the work of art that they always imagined, similar to Overhaulin, and we surprise them with this free vehicle and elaborate reveals that incorporate celebrities and really cool places like Broadway in Nashville and Joey Logano's garage in Charlotte and places like that. And it is so special. It's funny. It makes you laugh. We have characters. There's drama, and it's 100% real. Nothing is contrived. It is all completely organic and real to what's happening at Royal Garage. I'm the owner of the custom car garage. It's called Royal Garage, which stands for Ride of Your Life Garage. We do know how to spell. And this season was based in Georgia. We were in Atlanta, and we did 12 episodes, 12 cars, and each one is completely unique. And the first one premieres on August 24th, which is a Wednesday night. I'm told 10 p.m. In Motor Trend prime time. I'm so excited.
That is sweet, man. That's
awesome.
I'm looking forward to seeing that one. That sounds like a good crew and good concept.
Yeah, we know Will well from Big Oak, and
I'm surprised he kept that under wraps.
Yeah.
I'd be like touting that, that's street cred in our industry.
So 12
I
episodes.
told the guys, I was like, please don't say anything. The network has asked me not to. So we're about to make the big announcement. And I am just so excited that it all ended here. Like, this is the perfect fit. And it's a long road. COVID, with COVID, we had so many COVID shutdowns. I was hospitalized with COVID. We had product shortages, as you guys know. I mean, it was tough to get these cars built in the amount of time we wanted to. We were delayed like a year because of all of that. And then we lost sponsor dollars due to COVID. There was just so many things that stood against us. So we made it. We're here. And
that's it, man. Perseverance. That's what it's all about. Yeah, we do this for a living, building these cars. So I know what it's like to deal with all that COVID crap. It's has not been easy, been quite the challenge. And to do it when you're under the gun like that on TV is probably not the most ideal either.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it was.
interesting you talked about perseverance. We've this has become pretty much the theme of the show.
We
You
should.
know,
I think we should incorporate that in the name.
oil and whiskey, perseverance.
Perseverance.
Yeah,
With
it
the
doesn't have
roadster
a good
show.
ring to it, honestly.
Just slide it in there. They
We'll
put
work on it a little
Courtney
bit. Yeah, they
Hansen
threw
at
Courtney
the end
Hansen
of
in
the.
the
Just
end.
put it right at the end. Oil and whiskey.
I mean,
Perseverance.
all builders, and we've had bands on here. We've had bartenders. We've had just about everybody from all different types of walks of life. And the story, the same thing. It's just, you know, just not giving up, no matter how hard it gets. You've got your eye on the prize, and you know what you want to do, and you keep on, and you just persevere. It's interesting you talk about that too in your line of the work. That it's how long have you been working on this show? I mean, you said with COVID and stuff,
2
it's
years.
3 years.
2 years. So
2 years.
so I did another show. I don't know if you guys ever heard about it or saw it. I did a show called The Ride That Got Away, which was for History Channel, FYI Network, and Amazon Prime, and it was similar, but it was a different format. It was more of a kind of a hosty style Overhaulin format show, and this is total reality docu-series. And um, that one I was working on in 2017 and 18, and it aired in 2018. But we shifted gears, and we took a lot of notes from different networks and producer friends and people I respect in the industry, and made this a reality docuseries. No formula to it, besides the fact that we built a car in each episode. And we have a strong focus on big characters, so you will see they're funny and they're super dynamic, and they're a pain in my ass at times. Our parts guy, I'm sure you guys are familiar with Steve Cook of Steve Cook Creations.
Yep.
His son Mike, we call him Mini Mike. He goes by the Evil Midget. Mike is our parts guy, and I absolutely adore him. And he makes my life a living nightmare. No, but I absolutely adore Mike, and I think he's our star that shines the brightest. And but all the guys are amazing in their own way. But so we have characters, and then there's a focus on the female boss elements. We were told that was kind of that was attractive to the networks, and definitely Motor Trend. And then I don't know, it's a lot different from The Ride That Got Away. So it's a completely different series, and I just wanted to make that known. But this particular show I've been working on for over 2 years, and we expected that it was going to be on the air over a year ago. So it's just so gratifying that we're finally, coming across the finish line, and I could not be happier with how it looks, and with our team, and with Motor Trend, and we'll be on their app as well.
That's awesome. Congrats on that. That's gonna be cool.
With your level of experience, do you get to kind of throw your weight around and be like, no, this is what I want to do. This is the direction I want to see it go?
Like Will and I have the most amazing rapport. He's a genius at what he does, and unbelievably talented. His paint jobs are insane. Like if there's anything I'm like, really that color? And he's like, trust me. And then it comes, I'm like, oh, it's so perfect. And outside the box, like he goes outside the box. On our premiere episode, we did a couple things that are totally outside the box. And maybe I can tell you, we built a Grand National, and we did two things that are really outside the box.
You
and
painted
so
it white instead of black, didn't you?
it's not black.
Yeah,
And we did something else that's even crazier. So, but Will and I have never butted heads. I have like the utmost respect for Will, and I believe that goes both ways. And we just we have a blast, and there's like a mutual there's a respect among all of us. And I hate micromanaging. I just want to hire the best people to do what they do and let them go and do it. And so if Chelsea has thoughts on the interior, like she and Will can sort that out, and they can do whatever the heck they want to do. We have a build that we're finishing right now, and then we're done. And the paint color is very interesting. It's pinky. It's a pinky color.
A pinky, pinkish.
On a truck.
It's pinkish.
On a square body. On a square body.
Ooh, that's a lot of
And-
pinkish.
And the interior is a really interesting choice as well, but it's beautiful and it works. And so, I mean, I guess that's an example of just like trusting that they know what they're doing, and it's going to be great. And so everybody just fulfills their job perfectly, and it's this amazing camaraderie. And the only thing that makes me upset is if people are late, or if people are coming to work drunk or hungover. It doesn't happen often, but it has.
Yeah,
These guys are in their 20s.
the drunk
you know?
thing.
I'm like,
So
guys,
hungover is one thing, but coming to work like fully intoxicated is
Yeah,
that one just doesn't fly. You know,
it was debatable. They said they were hungover, but I was like, there's not a chance that you guys are. Well, anyways, it's part of an episode. But
Did he get an
that's not
Uber? Did he get an Uber cleanup fee? That's the test.
because that's a hell of a. He might still be drunk then. Yeah, I can understand that.
if so, I hope I wasn't billed for it. But yeah, we worked that into the episodes too. You know, I understand they like to party, and these guys are in their 20s and early 30s, and it's like, yeah, go and have fun. But we also have to get these builds done in a short amount of time, and they have to be 5-star, and we have to give them to these lovely people. So there's a lot going on with Ride of Your Life. But
Sweet.
That's awesome.
What's
We
the
look
time?
forward to
What's the
it.
time frame on building a car like that when you do it for the show?
it's hard to say because of the COVID shutdowns and everything, but what we were aiming for was a couple weeks.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, and
Hammer.
these cars were rust buckets. Like we take rust buckets because the people don't own the cars, like Overhaulin. So we were going and buying these cars, and then I realized we need to be buying better cars so that we don't have to work so hard.
Key to car building.
And that's what Mike says. Mike's like, do you not understand by now that you need to buy better cars so that we don't have to work so hard on
the money's going to be spent regardless. The same amount of money, one way or the other.
Spend it
Generally,
for-
way more the worse the car is in the long run.
Yes, and then we have both sides of the camera. It's not just the builders, but it's the production crew.
Production
So
time.
it's like I learned that one the hard way. So we'll get better cars next time. But
Well,
these cars were pieces of crap, and they become works of art. So
Do you have any awesome stories of the reveal and giving the cars to customers that you can share, or do we got to stay tuned in and watch the show? Or just your impression? How was it giving people their dream cars?
So we talk with the family, and so we find out what their dream car would be, and then Will goes outside the box and he pushes the limits, and he's like, all right, so they wanted a black car, well, we're making this one black and gold, or like they wanted this engine, well, we're about to do this. And so he convinces the family members to get like creative with this and to let us go outside the box and have fun with it. And the people are so overwhelmed with joy and just surprised. They're all like in their own way in a complete state of shock, because again, they didn't have the ar. So it's not like the car was, stolen like Overhaulin, and they're thinking, maybe I'm gonna get this back at some point in a week. In this case, they didn't know it was coming. So the reactions are priceless, and people are like literally like having heart attacks and shock. Like, no way, is this for real?
That's awesome.
And in the premiere episode, the guy, I love his reaction. It's priceless. And they're all so different. We have people who are really enthusiastic, and then those who are more subdued, but you can just like, the camera pulls in on their emotion, and you can just like see how emotional they are, and that they're like fighting back tears, or that they're just overwhelmed with shock. And so and we build cars for women too. I wish we're going to do more of them next season. And not everything is American, most, but we built a VW, and coolest one I've ever seen. And so the reveals are amazing and all totally different. Like we do everything from country music to NASCAR to caffeine and octane car show situation to whatever the interests are that person has. Like we try to tie it into their life and still make it something cool that will appeal to the viewers. So
that's awesome, because that's something to look forward to. So you said August 24th, 10 p.m. on Motor Trend, right? The Ride of Your Life.
I think it's 10 p.m. Yeah, Ride of Your Life, and they put my name with it. I guess that's irrelevant. And I think you'll like it. It like checks all the boxes of being fun and entertaining, and the cars are works of art, and we do a lot of really cool stuff to the cars. And then there's the heartfelt ending that kind of, I think, will make you cry a little bit.
That's awesome.
Tearjerker.
With all your experience in the TV world, predominantly automotive, what have you seen changed since Overhaulin to now? What are some highlights or things that you're like, we're going, things are moving this direction? Just, we don't watch a lot of TV, to be honest with you. We don't have a lot of time to watch a lot of TV. But
I get it.
But give us some insight in the automotive world of television and what people are wanting, where it's going, what you're seeing different than what it was.
I think the biggest thing that comes to mind is there are more women in the mix, and whether it's Constance on Rust to Riches, or Christy Lee and Adrian Janik, and the women in the scene, and in the racing world, and there are more female car designers and more women watching the shows. I feel like my fan base has shifted a bit, and I have more female fans than ever, and so that's really exciting to me. And I feel like the younger generation, I mean, obviously we're kind of shifting away from cars and into electronics and other things, and that makes me sad. And so I'm doing everything I can to like hopefully inspire the younger generation. And I think it's cool that we have, so I'm the oldest one on Ride of Your Life. And our project manager, Jesse, who's awesome. Jesse Spade. I don't know if you guys know him. He builds bikes and cars, and he's a badass. He's best friends with Brian Fuller, who I know you know.
That's Spade,
and so
Spade made? Doesn't he have a shop?
Spade Creations.
Spade Creations.
Yeah, he's out of Atlanta. And so what was my point? Oh yeah, the younger generation, that I'm just trying to like inspire the young ones and get and hopefully keep inspiring more women. But I feel like that's a big shift. And then the electric car thing, I just can't, like, I appreciate electric cars, and like I love, I had fun behind the wheel of a Tesla, but like I just am not.
You're being so reserved, Courtney. Cut loose. Tell the truth about what you feel about electric cars.
I just don't like them. I don't like electric cars. I don't like where we're going with it. And you know what? They're not. We could go on for days about how they're not necessarily better for the environment. And like, I'm sure you guys have already dealt with that topic. And so like, it's debatable, right? And so like, I want that visceral feeling of driving a car with a combustion engine. I want to hear it. I want to smell it. I want to feel it. I want to shift gears. Like,
well, here's my youth was spent so much of it cruising around North Georgia in parking lots and revving those engines. And in that era, most life and babies were created specifically due to the sound of the engine. And
the babies were created?
Yeah, because yes! Yes, absolutely. Okay. And I'm telling you, this generation,
like a Southern mating call.
How are you going to? She's been in the South long enough.
She knows.
Yeah. How are you going to? I'm telling you what, this is a fucking problem, because you can't cruise the local Piggly Wiggly parking lot on a Friday night with a Tesla and pull any type of checks.
So this is going to drag down. This is going to drag down the population, is what you're saying.
Absolutely.
And Elon Musk's been talking about that, right? Like we need to reproduce more. Isn't that what he's saying? That there's a future population problem.
That's what he's saying. There's differing opinions on the population. But
Fox body Mustangs with Flowmasters is basically what we need. Like,
we need more Fox body Mustangs with Flowmasters. Because I'm telling you what, Courtney, this is from a female standpoint. This is from a male standpoint that I'm talking about. How many in 1997 hanging out, if a car came through, first of all, a Cavalier made no noise, so a dude driving a Cavalier wasn't getting late, right? The dude in the Mustang and the Camaro and stuff like that.
The Z24 had a little, it was a little rappy.
No, Z24 got the leftovers after all the Mustang and Camaro guys were done. All right.
Well, wait, I got to pause there.
Go ahead.
I got to ask.
Sorry.
I got to ask Courtney. You clearly thought like you were badass. Like now, from a women's perspective, she's probably over there like, "What the fuck is this guy talking about?" There's another one of these.
I don't need that douchebags. I don't need that bubble bursted.
No, you're badass for sure. And
we're never gonna hear the end of this.
You're speaking my language for sure. So you said Fox body. We built a Fox body. Not with Flowmaster though. MagnaFlow is our exhaust sponsor on the show. But we built a Fox body, and we built it for a woman. A woman who's obsessed with Mustangs, and she gave up her Mustang to take care of her community, and she's known as the leader of her community in Alabama, and she is a trip. And we revealed the car at the not Atlanta Motor Speedway, the Motorsports Park.
Barbers.
And oh my gosh, she lost her mind, and she's like a Southern Spitfire, and it's amazing. And she got behind that thing, the wheel of that thing, and she just wanted to drive. Off she went. It was like, bye. But no, what you're saying is 100% true. And by the way, I bought a new car.
What'd you get?
I got a Dodge Charger Hellcat Red Eye.
Woohoo!
And
Damn.
and 2022. I had the 2021, and then I was like, you know what? I want the latest. I want 2022. So it's actually going to be waiting in my driveway for me at the end of this trip.
Oh,
That's awesome. Congratulations.
that is something nice to come
Thanks.
home to. That's
This
a
is the
little
last year, right?
I don't know. This is, you guys, this is the opposite of a Tesla.
Yeah, you're
exact opposite.
people
You're
will
making
hate
up
you
for
that.
everybody who has Teslas.
Everybody with a Tesla is looking at me like, F you.
All
By
I
the way,
hear is
my favorite
America.
car I've ever driven.
That's a mean
What'd
car,
you
though.
say?
I mean, that's
Yeah.
a fast fucking car.
On the
It's the
female
fastest
side of things,
sport.
you talked about there's so many more women that are getting into the industry. What is your opinion on why now more than before? Was it just there's more interest in it, or is it the level of entry or the glass ceiling or the barriers are not what they once were? Coming from, and I have obviously from a male, I shouldn't even be speaking about this, but in the mid to late 90s, when I was getting into the industry as we all were, it was just like if you could do it, it didn't matter male, female, whatever. I just didn't see that many women wanting to do it. And I don't know if it's that this is the hardcore thing, it's more rebellious, I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
I think that more women are confident now, like diving into that world. Like maybe if you think about the 50s, maybe women were interested or wanted to be, but didn't think that was their place or their role. They're like, oh, I'm supposed to be in here cooking and taking care of the kids while my dude is in the garage, wrenching on his Bel Air, And so I think that over time it's become more acceptable. And of course it's not like this just happened yesterday, but like over the decades, women were more comfortable racing and getting involved with the car scene and caring about what they're driving. And I think it's just that it's gotten to be more comfortable, and women can feel more confident diving into this space that was traditionally dominated by men. And so that's kind of how I see it. And when I first got the job on Overhaulin, I got a lot of backlash right out of the gate, where there used to be like those chat boards where people, like, it was prior to social media really getting big.
Yellow
Gosh,
Bullet.
I sound old.
Yeah.
Remember Yellow Bullet?
And people were on there like saying the meanest things about me. And it wasn't until some magazine articles started coming out that explained my pedigree and the fact that I grew up on a racetrack and that I worked on cars with my dad growing up, that people started to like give me respect there. And then once that happened, there's like zero chauvinism. I don't deal with any of it, thank God. Like, everyone is so cool and welcoming, and everyone I've worked with, all these guys are just phenomenal and supportive, and I love them. And I feel like the industry is very supportive of women in the space, but it wasn't always like that. And so I really think it just boils down to like women feeling more confident, like, I can dive into this.
Well, I think that there's a lot to be said for that. My wife knows that I'm not a very chauvinistic person. She's allowed to work on the cars if she wants to, but that I guarantee that dinner better be made.
But then you need to do some cooking too.
Yeah.
And you need to like,
Hey, you barbecue a little bit. When I was over the other weekend, you were barbecuing stuff.
I can
You
grill
pull
it
your-
over.
You pull your weight
I
around
can
there.
grill it over open fire. What to do with it after that?
Yeah.
What do we put this on?
All right, after you've cut the meat off the side of the cow, you throw
Right.
it on the open flame, right?
Right. Yeah. What do we do with this?
Caveman.
Right.
So personal cars. You just talked about the Red Eye. Classic cars. What have you had? What do you have now?
so my dream car, and like, I'm sure people ask you every day, like, what's your favorite car, right? And it's so hard. It's like, who's your favorite kid?
Right.
For Phil, that's
Um,
easy. I mean, the Miatas, it's just bam, he could fire it off.
Yeah. Phil's obviously Miata. It's the king.
Yeah, I mean, like, for me, it's my 57 Thunderbird. It's
Ooh.
the 57 Thunderbird. Like,
Nice.
my first classic car that I always dreamed of having. It's American Graffiti, although that was a 56.
Yeah.
I always loved that that car. And so as soon as I started making money, real money, where I could afford to get some classic cars, the first one I wanted was a 57 Thunderbird. And there was a night that I was researching online, and this is not an endorsement, but I was on eBay Motors, and I was just like 57 Thunderbird, and there was one on Robertson Boulevard, like just a couple miles from where I live. And so of course the next day I went to take a look at it and drove it and was like, bam, I'm buying this car. So I bought the car, and to this day, it's my favorite car it's not like a performance vehicle, obviously, but it's my favorite car to cruise in. And so I'm always cruising the Sunset Strip and
Is it white?
Melrose and PCH. It's white. It's white,
man,
white.
so you got the whole American graffiti thing going on, huh?
Yes.
Damn.
Yes. Just no Continental kit. There's no tire on the back, no wheel on the back. But it's so beautiful and all original, and I post pictures of it all the time. It's my favorite car. But then I also have a 70 Z28, and it's all original as well. But I think I'm gonna have some fun with that one. And then I have a 70 Mach 1 that I got from DJ Funkmaster Flex. I have we have to have the baby friendly cars. So I've got Range Rover supercharged.
The baby needs a supercharger, you know.
Yeah,
it's key.
In case of emergency.
Yeah, if you gotta evade a situation, you know,
right,
you need
a little extra wine.
You need some HPs.
Yeah.
For sure.
Baby needs a red eye. Baby needs a red eye. That's like that. And then I think I need to add like I have my eye on a 68 Charger. And I love the 67 GTO convertible. I want all the manufacturers represented in my garage, and I gravitate American. So
I like your style.
Yeah.
Yeah, the T-Bird's cool. We got, what's it, 56 or 7?
56.
Yeah, we got a 56 that's just been chilling.
They're so hard to do all the things that need to be done. But
they're cool to drive though. Like you sit in them really well because it's almost like Corvette-ish, and they're kind of fun to drive. They're a little sporty, but
driving the T-Bird that we've got or whatever, I could see the appeal to the Miata that built with the top down small, that power to weight ratio.
I can see it. Like if you take another 10 inches off the wheelbase and shave 1,000 pounds, it's a sports car.
Phil doesn't
both of you.
Phil doesn't have the wins that Jerry Hansen has. But he's an aspiring,
he's competitive
SCCA. Yeah. Absolutely. Big Miata racer.
Yeah. Not a Miata
and
racer.
The T-Bird's comfortable because it's like a couch. Like it's like just sliding behind, you're like sliding into a couch.
Those cars
it's like
are
an old like steakhouse booth on the seat.
Oh, it is like an old steakhouse. Yeah,
Totally.
with the big cow out front. Yeah. It's got but it's got so many cool little details. I mean, the gauge cluster is fucking awesome. The gauge cluster is
the sickest thing ever with the little acrylic see-through thing on the top. They're cool.
Yeah. Now we've got fucking iPad in the center, and it goes zoom, zoom.
Yeah, fucking iPad in the center of the dash.
Yeah, absolutely.
What I want to get is one of Kindig's Vets.
Oh,
I love them.
That's a sexy, sexy car.
Yes, it is. It's like one of the sexiest cars I've ever seen. Well, and his oh my gosh, what's the green?
The Pantera. Yeah.
Oh my god, his Pantera is like the most badass car. But those Corvettes, you guys are working on them with him, right?
Yeah.
We do all the chassis for him. But
yeah, when he came to us and talking about those, I'm like, dude, that's the wrong gear Corvette. How the hell are you? I was so skeptical until you see that car. It is, I mean, it's breathtaking. It's so well done.
We do this for a living and been doing it for quite some time. That was the first build that I was like, oh, so I could just like pay him to do it and have one of those. Every time you see something nice that somebody builds, you're like, holy shit, that's awesome. But in your head, you're thinking, maybe I should build myself one.
Or I would change these 800 things.
I would change these. At that point was just like, all right, so how much? Like, so you do like payments? Like, what's the deal?
Blue one?
Yeah.
Aren't you guys like, he's like way backed up on those builds, right?
Yeah, he's sold the shit out of them. Oh, rightfully slow. Yeah. He does them well. They look awesome. You can drive them anywhere. Yeah. It's not a Miata.
Yeah. No, it's definitely not.
I appreciate you not taking the Miata bait and running with that.
We have a ongoing joke that we have an alter ego of Phil that he drives a Honda Ridgeline, has a Honda generator, has a home built trailer, and he SCCA races a Miata on the weekends, and we just don't know about it.
she grew up owning a racetrack. You don't think they had like an outbuilding full of Miatas for like club racing and teaching drivers? I mean, she's used to it. She knows.
They're Trans Am racing with Paul Newman. No, they had no Miatas. All right.
That's a pretty good point.
There was no Miata in
Pretty
our
good point.
garage.
I also signed Josh's paycheck. So
So what, out of all the stuff you've done, all the builds you've been a part of, what's something that if you had to think back right now, you're given 30 seconds, what's a highlight? What's something that was a moment that you said, all this hard work is paying off, or holy shit, I can't believe I'm doing this. This is the funnest moment I'm ever having. Something that's the crown jewel as of right now.
You know, the opportunity to work with Chip Foose on Overhaulin was really special. And there were many times that I was like, wow, this is super, super cool. Like building Lance Armstrong's GTO in Austin. And that just stands out to me for some reason. And like hanging with Sheryl Crow and like, you know, we're conspiring to build this car for Lance Armstrong with her. That was super cool. And just all of the different people who came on Overhaulin as guests, and you know, you've had a lot of them on your show. It was just it was an honor to work with these people and to learn from them. And so I just, Overhaulin stands out. And then, you know, just the opportunity to talk with you guys and people who really love cars and care about our industry, and we can share stories. Like that to me is what it's all about. And to inspire anybody along the way makes me so happy. Like if I can inspire a woman out there, a kid out there, or a dude to get more involved with the car world, like I think I've affected my husband in a positive way when it comes to cars. You know, he likes cars, but now he really likes cars. And so and it's a joy to be able to talk cars and make people happy and maybe inspire a couple people along the way.
Well, you did mention Chip Foose. That was your first thing. That was your go-to. I urge you personally to go and listen to the episode that just dropped a couple weeks ago with Troy Trepanier. We had him on as a guest
just a couple days ago.
So Troy did a special story time. He stayed on late for us. He had his son with us. He was in studio. He stayed on late, gave a special story time specifically about Chip Foose and him and his trip to Japan. And it is quite a story that
it's worth a listen.
It's worth a listen. Fast forward through all of us talking, just get to that story time part, and you will be dying laughing.
Okay, I'm definitely going to. So I was about to watch it, and then I got.
You're on vacation, so you have way more important things to be doing.
Well, and I have deadlines with the show. We're literally delivering episodes as of tomorrow. And so I'm like doing these edits and I have to give notes, and they're like, you have to give notes right away. I have been pulling all-nighters. I look like shit because I've been pulling all-nighters this entire week. I like at least 3-4 a.m. I'm up, and a couple of nights I had to be up all night because the editors have to have my notes to meet these deadlines, whatever. But so I was going to watch the Troy Trepanier episode, and I definitely will. And he was one of the people that was just, you know, an honor to work with on Overhaulin. And one of my favorite cars ever is the car he built for Joe Rogan, Sickfish Cuda. I was like, can you do one of those for me? I was like, yep, for the price of.
He's not going to do it as cheap as he did that one.
No, yeah, that
his
one.
rates have changed.
Yeah.
Rates have changed since then.
Joe's getting that car back.
Is he?
He bought the car back last year and sent it to us, and it's the 2022 version.
The 2.0.
Yeah. So
wow.
Yeah, he should have it back probably end of this year or something.
It's over at our buddy Vaughn Guard down in Stuart, Florida, getting some interior work done.
Yeah. It's all done minus interior and some tuning, and it'll be headed back to Joe.
That car's insane.
So sick.
And you know, another thing that comes to mind too is just like the fact that I was able to execute this show, Ride of Your Life, under the circumstances, in a global pandemic, and get it across the finish line, but looking this good and with this incredible team and just like conquering all the obstacles along the way. It's a gratifying feeling. And so that stands out in my mind too as something that's a real highlight of my life. So, and my daughter's a part of many of the episodes, and my husband's even in there a little bit. And so it's special because like it's you know, my family's there in the mix with me, and it's a dream coming true. So
awesome.
So cool. So cool to have to have the family involved. How do you juggle that with the daughter? Your daughter, you said, is 8 years old.
It was a grind. So obviously when we buy better cars going forward and don't have to put so much time and energy on both sides of the camera into these builds, I won't be away from home as much. But I was going back and forth from Atlanta to my home in Florida every 3 days, like flying during a pandemic every 3 days. That's why I got COVID. And I got it really bad. I've never smoked. I have no respiratory issues and I'm super healthy. But I got it bad. And I think it was just because my immune system was down and all that travel. But I was determined to spend at least half of every week with her because these are her formative years. And so I was like, yeah, this project is really important and this is my career, but I also need to be a mom. And so I did not have a day off for like a year and a half because we worked every weekend. So I would work on the show when I was in Atlanta and then at home, as a mom, driving her to school and back into all of her activities. So it was grueling for me, but I found the balance and now it will be easier going forward because, again, I know how to do this now a lot more efficiently and cost effectively.
Awesome. That's a hell of a work ethic to be able to juggle.
That's what
you're doing.
that's the key to success. We talk about this all
I
the time.
thought you just get lucky. I thought isn't it?
I mean, you hear about that all the
get
time.
lucky.
People are
Scratch
like,
off.
Yeah.
I worked for this many years without taking a day off, or I worked for this many years without a paycheck, and I did this for this, and I did this for this, and it's sacrifice. That's the thing is those golden rules, that we all learned as a kid, was, hard work pays off, and that's not
It's
taught
all
anymore. It's
the sayings that nobody really pays attention to.
Yeah,
If it was
they're-
easy, anybody would do it. Yeah.
they're all sayings for a reason
Yeah.
because they're fucking true. And now it's like, it's right now. Well, I've been doing this for 4 days, but I don't want to do it anymore, or I'm bored, or I'm tired, or I did this, or I did that. And it's nobody wants to like really kick ass, like seriously do what it needs to be done. You said you went that a year and a half without a day off. That's
Or a paycheck. Like you just mentioned, I didn't, I mean, I don't know if you guys care, if anybody cares, but I didn't take a paycheck on this show in any way for 2 years. And I put a lot of my own money into it. So that was another sacrifice. And yeah, as a working woman who pays my own bills, that was a tough sacrifice as well. But it's what I had to do to get it across the finish line because we lost 1.5 million in sponsorships when COVID happened. So
Damn.
it was a sacrifice on many levels, but it makes it all the more gratifying.
not-
And all those things are true.
I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm not educated enough to say this, but it's very rare. I haven't heard the story of someone that comes on a podcast or an interview or a magazine article or anybody. It's like, I kicked ass. I never took a day off. I sacrificed. I did this and I still failed. Nobody
Right.
ever, you know what I'm saying? There's like, oh, why not me? I did all the, it's always, well, this didn't happen. And then you start digging deeper and it's like, well, yeah, but you didn't put in the fucking work. Like
Right.
it is tough. It is hard. Anything that's worth doing, is worth doing. It just, I don't know. We talk about this with all different people of all different walks of life. And it's funny how it continues to come up. And it's
It's a trend.
especially in today's day and age in the workforce of what we're, what you see daily of trying to hire people and the new generation coming up. We've all got kids and we're trying to raise them the right way. I mean, things they
Yeah.
come home saying, that they're getting taught or, the friends are saying this. And it's like, between that and Teslas, I'm telling you, it's gonna be done.
It's definitely what their friends are saying, because when my son comes home and he says that he tells his friends if they want to listen to a cool podcast where they say a lot of swear words and play with knives, you should listen to my dad's. So it's definitely the friends are the bad influence. It's not the parents.
Next,
Yeah, and like there's cussing around our daughter, and I'm like, like Holland is her name, or Holland, whatever. We're adults, we can say what we want, but she won't drive a Tesla, and she will work her ass off like me.
That's
Period.
perfect.
And her dad.
Yep.
We all work
She
our
is
asses off.
being raised right.
And she won't get on the back of a motorcycle.
well, she'll have to make her own
This is
decision on
like-
that,
yeah.
like you did.
You got to learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
The next question was supposed to be about advice, but I want to know if you have a kick-ass Bud Brutzman story.
Oh,
Yeah, we know Bud pretty well.
I love Bud. I love Bud so much. Like, I'm so grateful to him and AJ. First of all, it's pretty funny to me that that people, our fans of the show, tried to make AJ and I enemies, and we've always been great friends. Like, I left the show, I went on to do other stuff, and AJ took my spot, and the fans had a field day with that, trying to make us enemies. And like, she was just at my daughter's birthday party the other day, and I just posted pictures of us last night on Instagram and social media, and it just makes us laugh because we've always been really close. And she was part of the interview process when they hired me for Overhaulin. And I saw her and I was like, oh my God, this drop dead gorgeous girl is definitely the one who's getting the job. And then she's like, okay, so here, fill out this form, and I need your ID and whatever. I'm like, wait, she's the casting person, she's not the one getting the job. And so she was a big part of that. And Bud believed in me, and I'm so grateful to him for believing in me. And I literally, like, it makes me emotional because, like, if it wasn't for Bud, I might not be in this exact spot where I am now, or it might not have happened the way it did or as quickly as it did. And so I absolutely love him, but he's effing crazy, as you know.
Okay, good. I was going to say, that's not I wanted a bad Bud story.
Yeah.
I didn't want to hear about how
We're
good
looking
of a
for
person.
blackmail.
We
Have you ever
has
seen
anybody
Bud
ever, like,
not wearing all black?
It's like Johnny
no,
Cash.
he's only worn black, and his son Juice, black. And like, if I had a white party, he's showing up in all black. But Bud would be like, hey, have you ever been choked out before? I'm like, choke out people, guests on Overhaulin, and cameramen, and me, and like crazy. And there was a time we went to his family's from Wyoming, and we did an episode at Wyotech in Wyoming with Jesse Combs, and we took a four-door Bel Air and made it into a two-door convertible. And it was a crazy build. But we were at this restaurant called the Buckhorn. It's a bar and restaurant, and there's these really steep stairs there, and you're supposed to roll down the stairs, and it's called the Buckhorn Roll. And Bud was, determined to get drunk and then do the Buckhorn Roll, and like, you literally break ribs doing this. And
Wow,
imagine the
perfect for
steepest
Josh.
flight of stairs, and you're doing like wood stairs, and you're rolling down the wood stairs. And so he did that repeatedly and injured himself, and it was crazy. And then we're like in rental cars, and he's doing the most insane stuff that you're not supposed to do in any car ever, but definitely not the car that you rented. and so, Bud nearly killed us behind the wheel of many things, but he was a blast to hang with, and he's obviously the coolest guy. And I owe so much of my, my career and life to him paving the way. So
Bud's a super fucking cool dude. We've dealt with Bud.
Yeah.
We've hung out with him a bunch doing the Battle of the Builders stuff, kind of built quite a friendship. And I've always looked at Bud as being like the evil villain in some sort of a superhero movie. Doesn't he look like he's got this look that just, well, he needs to cast himself
The
in
movie
something like
starts
that.
out where you're kind of like, I think that's the
I think
bad guy.
Maybe he starts up as kind of a good guy.
Yeah,
but
but at
yeah.
the very end, you're like, yeah, that's the fucking bad guy.
Yeah.
But you know what? He's a softie though too. Like, he has a huge heart, and he's such a softie underneath it. And yeah, I think it's like a facade. A lot of it's a facade. And he likes to show off his jujitsu moves.
Oh
and
shit! He knows I shouldn't be talking shit.
Yeah,
I didn't know he
yeah,
knew
he's gonna-
jujitsu.
He's gonna choke the shit out of you and SEMA.
Better get with Blaze, start training.
Damn it!
What's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
To be a better listener, I think. My mom told me when I was little, she was like, I mean, that's just the first thing that came to mind. She was like, everybody likes to talk in life, and they like to talk about themselves. And she's like, just be a better listener. Like, listen to what people have to say, because you'll learn, and it will make you a cooler person, and you'll be a more open-minded person. And so that was really good advice. And then my dad, it's very simple. It's trite, but it's so true. He was like, think big, think big, think big, aim big, shoot as high as you can go. So if I ever was like, Dad, should I try this? Dad, should I try to executive produce a 12-episode TV series where we're building custom cars in 2 weeks during a global pandemic? You'd be like, go for it. Go for it. Aim big. Absolutely. So Those two pieces of advice really resonate. And don't get in the back of a motorcycle. Someone who doesn't know how to ride.
I thought
That's a solid one.
You didn't take that advice, but now you can pass that on now.
You got to learn from experience. Do you have any advice for young girls trying to get into this industry? All of us have daughters, and I think it's a pretty clear path for a boy to get into the industry growing up, in cars, working on cars. Kind of, it's a natural transition. I think you're a great role model for women, girls in the industry. What's your advice to help them get in and choose their direction?
Like my dad said, go for it, and just like think hard about what you want to do and where you will excel. Know what you're good at. Like think about what you're good at, what your strong suit is, and then go for that, and be open to all realms of the automotive industry, because there's so much out there that you can be a part of and dive into, and just go for your dreams and don't let anyone stand in your way. I was told no a million times. I was told no to the point during auditions and castings that like, it was very tempting to give up along the way, but you just have to keep going, and you have to believe in yourself, because if you don't, who's going to believe in you? And so I would say hone in on your skill set and where you will shine, and then don't give up. Go for it. And right now is the time for the woman. And it is what it is, right? Like, this is like where women are getting the Hollywood jobs, and women are conquering in every field, and they're conquering in automotive. So like, let's seize this opportunity and strike while the iron's hot, and we can really make a mark. And so that's what I have to say.
That's great advice. It's interesting advice too, that you wouldn't even bother to tell them that no matter what their job is, no matter what their career path is, they're going to be continued to be surrounded by 14-year-old boys. No matter no matter what their age are.
Yeah.
No matter
wow, that's pretty good.
It's the truth.
Yep.
I mean,
yeah. And to not be a victim, like I am so not a victim. Like I've been subjected to the Me Too thing, and I have crazy Me Too stories that would like blow your mind. And like I've told only my closest friends about them, because I don't want to be a victim. Like I don't want that stigma attached to me, and like I think every woman deals with it in some way, but like don't be a victim, and also don't let guys like talk to you in a disrespectful manner, and like fight for your place there. Like walk into the garage with confidence, and like do what you do with confidence. And you don't have to be a bitch, and you don't have to be a know-it-all, but like be strong and confident, and like never a victim, and don't take shit from anybody. And like that's worked for me, and I believe that's a good formula.
The Me Too movement was an interesting one that jumped out to me as one of those like totally overlooking, like, poor marketing that us older people, we remember what is now known as a hashtag sign. That was the pound button on the telephone.
Pound Me Too.
Yeah, it's like, man, did they miss the fucking mark on that?
Not to make
I know,
light of
yeah,
the
I know,
serious
right?
situation, but
It's
you're
a
right.
serious situation, but there's other ways. There's so many other things you could have called that.
Back to my point of it doesn't matter.
Funny.
It doesn't matter how high you rise and the age of those other employees. You're still
14.
surrounded by
Exactly.
14
Yeah,
years old.
and Josh, point in case there. His point, right?
If you could go back in time and give yourself a piece of advice, when would it be and what would it be?
If I could go back and give
And you
myself
can't use the motorcycle story.
No,
Don't
no,
get it.
no,
Don't get on the motherfucking motorcycle.
No, I would say that I would have moved to LA sooner, because like it was in the back of my mind for years. Like I graduated from Florida State, and then I just thought it was like the right thing to do, to go work in corporate America. And my parents, like I thought it would make them proud, and I had a good gig, and where I was going to be making a nice chunk of money. And looking back, like it was okay. It was part of my journey, but I feel like it was kind of like a sellout move I wasn't really happy doing that. And I was living in a place that didn't make me happy. And so like I was doing that for a couple of years, and I wonder like what would have happened had I moved to LA, 3 or 4 years sooner than I did. So I think that goes back to like follow your dreams, do what you want to do, like really just do it. We only live one freaking life. Like we need to max it out and be happy. So if I could do it over, I would have followed my heart more and like done what I wanted to do instead of what I felt like was conventional and what my parents wanted me to do. And I also would have probably like started having kids earlier, because it was my dream to have a big family. And we have a daughter who's like 5 kids in one, but she's an only child and we're still trying. But yeah, I would have loved to have had more kids too. So those are my 2 pieces of advice that I would give myself if I could go back.
Advice.
Those are good ones. And now we come to the standard questions we ask every single guest. Some of these are going to sound weird, but if you've already listened to a few episodes, we know that we're kind of weird. So,
I love it. I love it.
Do you have a personal favorite SEMA story?
My favorite SEMA story was when we were in the heat heart of Overhaulin. It was 2000, I want to say 2004, and we built a car at SEMA for the first time. We built a Mustang for this older gentleman, and it was so badass to be at SEMA with the #1 automotive show on the air, and to be building this insane car with Chip Foose and an audience. And it was unlike anything I've ever experienced. It was so cool. And when Overhaulin was in its prime that year, it was like 2003 to 5, that it was like so huge. As you guys know, it's like it's hard to get around SEMA, but it made me so happy that there were so many fans of our show and so many supportive people out there and so many car enthusiasts loving what we were doing. And that was special. That stands out for sure. Big time.
Cool.
Awesome.
I always say that's like you're the Michael Jordan of something. I feel like overhauling is like in the TV car industry world, like everything is compared to overhauling. It's everybody knows it, everybody's seen it. It's like the benchmark level.
Right. Well, because Chip Foose set the bar, right? As a car customizer designer, he set the bar, and he's arguably the best ever. And then I mean, certainly like he paved the way. And then Bud produced an amazing show. And I think that it was so fun with the pranks that Chris would do and the heart to it, with what we were doing for the people, and the fact that you're seeing a woman in the mix like that for the first time on a car show. I think all those variables really helped it to be the perfect recipe. And it was cool to be a part of that. And it still has a cult following all over the world.
It's the friends or Seinfeld of our industry.
Yeah, you're right. It's the perfect team, perfect group of people, perfect concept, and executed so well. Still, it's a phenomenal show.
Just honestly, it's just too good of people. They're trying to do good things.
They needed to throw some people like us in there to just fuck it up a little bit.
It wouldn't have gone as well. It wouldn't have gone as well.
We had Bud in the mix. And Bud created it, and he created the best show, I think, of all time, the best car show.
And
ever.
before that, he did Rides, which Rides was kick ass also. Bud's got a lot of good shows out there. But I feel like we've talked about it. We need to see if we can con Bud.
We're going to try and get Bud on.
Yeah.
Now that I hear about his step story, let's get him on, because that's
you guys can
share something in common.
You guys streams badass.
You guys can share tumbling down steps.
Anybody that can throw themselves downstairs is a badass.
And from experience.
Yep, I know all about it. What's the best car movie, or your favorite car movie, and why?
Oh, that's so hard.
You can do multiples.
Oh man, I mean, so many things come to mind.
What's the first thing that came to your mind right when I asked that question?
I mean, like, of course, I think Bullet, and then I think like Smoking the Bandit, and then I think American Graffiti. But that wasn't really a good movie. I just love the cars. I love the cars in it. And then I think like Days of Thunder. Like, I love Days of Thunder. I'm a NASCAR person. I work with NASCAR.
Courtney's a Southern girl. The two that those are on top of my list. You can see the different guests that we have on that what area of the country they grew up in by their favorite car movie.
I'm from Minnesota, though. I'm from Minnesota, but then like I
Shot
moved
a
to
hole
Florida
in
when I was
that.
12.
He went to college at Florida State.
Yeah, I went to college at Florida State, but I'm so not a Southern girl. Like I'm a Minnesota girl through and through. And then I hate to say it, guys, I love California. Like I have a home in California that I've had for 20 years, and I love California. If you take whatever your politics are, if you take politics out of California and traffic on the 405, you have like the perfect place in the world to live, and I absolutely love it.
So
But
where are you at in
my
California? Where's the sweet spot there?
LA.
Wow. That's
But Minnesota is where I'm from. So like
I guess coming from Minnesota, LA is pretty damn cool. You know?
From anywhere, LA is pretty damn cool. It has everything: the mountains, the beaches, the desert, the restaurants and shopping, and all of it. And you can be in this huge city, but yet like feel like you're not. Like at my house, I feel like there's such privacy, and we have trees and a backyard and a front patio, and like and I'm often like, I don't even feel like I'm in LA, but I can step out and be a part of everything, and so it's like the best of all of it. But the movie thing, though, it's just like the car movies that I've grown up with. I think there's something to appreciate about all of them. I mean, even like Talladega Nights.
Oh,
It's
Talladega
hilarious.
Nights.
No one's brought that up
Yeah,
yet.
fucking Cal Naughton Jr. I mean, dude, I was just thinking about the other day,
Magic
the
Man.
name Cal Naughton Jr., whoever came up with that, that's gold. I mean, wow.
First of all,
Good.
those two together, that's two of the best movies. I mean, Step Brothers and Talladega Nights gave us comedy gold.
Yeah, for decades.
Totally.
So with
I
Bullet,
loved
you
it.
said you're the 68 Charger, something you're looking to add to your
Yeah.
collection. Is Bullet attractive to you because of Steve McQueen and the Bullet, or the Charger chase car?
Both is because then I'll have a Charger, and I'll have and I have a Mustang. So like,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
yeah.
One of each.
So I just love, I mean, Steve McQueen, badass, and that scene is insane. I showed it to Holland the other night. We watched it a couple of times. So and like hearing all the stories about Steve McQueen, and of course like sitting in cars that he owned at the Peterson Museum. That movie becomes all the more special. He used to love like racing on Mulholland Drive, and the cops tried to get him all the time, and like they would like have bets and could never catch him.
Remember that movie? Remember the movie they did where that badass dude was driving that EV, and it was in that chase?
Yeah, with all the chicks in the car.
and
Yeah,
all the
like a bunch of
chicks
chicks in the car.
Yeah, because it hasn't fucking happened.
Right.
I mean, every movie that's made now, even John Wick, they put a muscle car in it. I mean, all this stuff, you've got to put the muscle
It's
car in.
true.
I'm telling you, Courtney's on my side. It's the
I am totally. But
Hey, I'm
then
not
my
arguing.
daughter who just watched it, like Holland talks about Teslas all the time, and she's like intrigued by Teslas for some reason. I'm like, no.
Well, they're
This is, like,
intriguing.
blasphemy.
yeah. What's the very first car you ever owned? And a
The
funny
first
story.
car I ever owned was an IROC Z. Come say hi real quick. Was an IROC Z
Hey.
Camaro. This is Holland, my 8-year-old.
Holland.
And
She ran right away.
See, I want no part of this.
A really big, important podcast.
Stranger
So
danger.
she's a soccer star. She's a little soccer
I see
star.
you
like,
rocking the
if she stays in
soccer
this-
jersey, huh?
Awesome.
She's killing it. Like she's scoring 11 goals in a game. Like she was just in the hardest league in LA, and she was MVP.
Nice.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Perseverance.
Yeah, Holland, we're saying congrats to you. But
Kicking butt.
We've got to steer her away from Teslas and
Well, when you
not
take her
allowed
for a
anymore.
ride in that new red eye, I think she'll be
Should do it.
She'll be pretty stoked.
No,
Like a
she's
roller
ridden
coaster.
in it, and she's
Oh.
like, she doesn't know how cool it is. I'm like, Holland, ask the boys in school. Like, I wish you could ask the girls too. But I'm like, ask the boys how cool this car is. Like, she's like, Mom, I'm embarrassed when you're in the carpool lane. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Oh,
This is the coolest car by
She's
far.
Makes
embarrassed.
too much
See-
noise.
See, my daughter and son, my son's like one of our biggest fans, so he knows every vehicle we've ever built down to like what motor and what chassis in it. So he has a long list of all the vehicles he wants me to pick him up from school in, because he's at that age. He's 11 now, so he wants to
Show
like,
off.
yeah, he wants to be people to see, like, you know,
Yes. Yes.
this Camaro and this Chevelle come pick him up. So she'll get there.
Yes.
She'll get there.
I was picked up in a darn minivan, you know, like it was like the quintessential like horror story. I'm like, Colin, you're getting picked up from school in a red eye at
It's cool.
2022.
I mean, as a
Come
kid,
on.
I remember I'd hear, when Dad was coming in like the NSX or
Yeah.
Corvette. I'm like,
Yes.
you kind of like scurry to the front of the line. That's my dad.
That's my
I'm
dad.
just kidding. This is just me over here. I'm just gonna kind of get in with. See you guys. I'll see you guys later.
Enjoy the minivan.
Maybe start
Maybe this
playing.
is like a thing with girls.
Maybe
Could be.
start playing like Days of Thunder or
Or
Smokey and the Bandit at night,
Here,
just
this
like
is-
as white noise, just in the
Dude,
background.
this is another way of looking at it. I mean, you remember the scene in Billy Madison where he shows up in the Trans Am with the jean jacket? That could be all of us. We might be sitting there thinking that we're like super badass, and she's like, "Oh my God, Mom, this is so embarrassing." Like,
Totally. Oh, and then there's the movies Gone in 60 Seconds and Fast and Furious, of course. Oh my God. Like it's hard to pick one car movie.
It is.
But you're right. I need to convince Holland though that the Charger is cool. I need to get some of the young boys, like her favorite guys, to tell her like that.
You tell how badass it is.
I would try to keep her away from the
Yes.
younger boys, honestly.
it's inevitable. And last but not least, I know you got to go. You're on family vacation. We got to let you go. This is the last question. This is the question we ask every single guest. It's gonna seem super weird, but it's what fans have come to expect.
it's what the fans want.
It's what the fans want. It's time for you to do a pocket dump. You've got to show what's in your pockets right now.
I have nothing in my pockets.
Or
I'm wearing a
purse.
bathing.
You've
By the
got
way,
to,
this is a bathing suit. I'm wearing a bathing suit because
well, what is in your closest fanny pack and or purse?
I
You
think
got to dump some things.
okay. In my purse, oh gosh, do I have to find it?
What?
There's like, okay, we definitely have lip gloss, and lip liner, and hand sanitizer, and credit cards and money. I'm trying to think if there's anything fun. There's definitely Tic Tacs and gum, always. My sunglasses, because I'm ordinarily wearing glasses because I have to, but I took them off for this. I have let's see. I'm trying. Oh, I have crystals in there. Like I love crystals, and like I kind of appreciate the meaning behind the different crystals. So I do have some of those, and I have something else that's cool. I don't know. I was just in Europe, so I probably have some euros in there.
Hey,
And
that'll work.
maybe a map. I think there is, because we're traveling in Sun Valley, and then usually it happens where I leave hotel keys in there, and so I'm sure I have some hotel keys that I
got a
need to
stack of them. in my
We
wallet.
talk about that quite a bit. The hotel keys stack up, and then it's time
What
for
is
a
it about the
purge.
hotel? I think it's the checkout day. You're like, maybe I got to run back up to the hotel room when you're so
Right.
You kind of like
you
tuck it
just
away
gotta
and then
save
you
it.
forgot
And you got to
something.
wait till like a couple weeks later, and you never do it. I was hoping for a Polaroid picture of Bud passed out, but that's fine. Not a big deal.
I have so many albums from the Overhaulin days, and Bud is in a lot of pictures. We had so much fun. We would also prank all the time. We had this thing where we pranked each other, and like Chip is a total prankster, and Chris, of course. And so, oh my God, that time in Wyoming, we did some crazy stuff. Like we let all the air out of the tires of Bud's car. They with lipstick put all over I didn't do it, but like Chris and Chip put like like bad words that I shouldn't say in front of my daughter, like all over the windshield and all over the windows. And we turned Foose's bedroom upside down, and
It's not just
we
us.
kind of
though.
like,
Yeah.
I'm sure we got some damage fees because we trashed.
I think it's the
But,
the car industry that leads to the immaturity, not to the.
What
not
happened to
the sex.
your room in Nashville one time?
In Nashville?
Yeah. Remember
Oh.
we got in there late?
This one quick story, and then we'll let you go.
Yeah.
Courtney.
Yeah.
So-
No, you're fine.
Me and Jeremy we flew down to South Florida to pick up a truck that just got done with interior at Avant Guard. Jeremy Carlson did another phenomenal job. We flew down there, hopped in the truck. We're going to drive it all the way
Good Guys
back.
show.
Yeah, to the Good Guys show in Nashville. So we, standard fashion, we fly down. We're running a little bit late. We do the whole thing. We hang out with the interior shop. We do that. So we get on the road at like 5 o'clock in the evening. Show starts the next morning. We're in what, Palm Beach?
Yeah, West Palm.
West Palm area. So we hit the road. It's gonna be a great evening. We had nothing to do but drive to Nashville. There was several cool stories, lots of hijinks, lots of things along the way. We get to Nashville about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. Go to bed. We pass out, and we've been driving all night long. I got to go to the show the next morning early. So I drive the truck.
I was flying home.
And Jeremy's flying home. He's got a family thing to get back to. So I drive to the show, do the show all day long. Still, I had like probably 3 hours of sleep. Got to get to the show at like 7 o'clock in the morning. Do the show, go out to dinner with some clients, do that, get home, get back to the hotel late. And get back to the hotel probably 11:30.
So he probably just wanted to go to sleep. Right?
I want to do is go to sleep. I walk into my hotel room, the one we shared the night before, and both beds are pushed together, and there's a teepee made out of the mattresses. And there's no sheets to be found. There's no pillows to be found. There's no nothing to be found. I'm like, what the fuck? And instantly I'm like, I know what's going on. So I walked into the bathroom. There's a tower of all of the items that were in the room and in the bathroom.
And in your dob kit.
And everything that was in my dob kit.
Oh my God.
There's a tower. So you can't grab anything. It's all the way at the top. All the sheets, all the pillows, everything's in the tub. It's like, I just want to go to sleep. That's all I want to do.
No.
Yeah, so I haphazardly put the bed back together, went to sleep on a mattress.
You can't let us car folks stay anywhere.
It sucked.
14-year-old boys.
14-year-old boys. That's exactly what we always are. For Courtney, it's been great. I know you got to get back to your family. Awesome. You're on vacation. If you're ever in the Chicago area, we'd love to do this again in studio. Seriously.
Yes,
show you around the shop.
I would love it, you guys. Thank you so much for having me on. It's an honor for me, and I'm excited to watch the Troy Trepanier episode. Is there any other that you think like?
Hurry up and watch that one before Foos's lawyers send a cease and desist.
Yeah, you gotta watch it quick.
Foos is gonna shut it down.
There's
quick.
gonna be a defamation lawsuit coming pretty quick.
There's a few good ones. We're looking forward to the Royal Garage for sure.
Yeah, and I'll see you guys at SEMA.
Absolutely,
we will be there.
We'll be there.
Yay! Are you guys going to be doing anything live?
We might do something. Yeah,
we're thinking about doing a live episode one day and just having a bunch of guests in. If you're available, we'd love to have you on.
I will be there all week, and from because I'm now on both sides of the camera, I'll be there from Sunday to the following.
Way too long to be in Vegas. Yeah.
Way too long, but I'll see you guys in Vegas, and thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you out there.
Thank you.
Have a great vacation.
Courtney. Take care. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Big thanks again to Courtney Hansen. You can check out Courtney's website at CourtneyHansen.com and follow her on the social media via Instagram at Courtney_Hansen. Hansen. Hansen with an E. All right, that'll do it for part 1 of this episode. Be sure to tune in to part 2 of the episode, which drops on Thursday. Thanks for listening to Oil and Whiskey with the Roadster Shop and Ironclad Original. If you like the show, be sure to leave a rating and a review.